Pigweed here. Today we review a porter and ask if we were wrong about Trump. We thought he was going to be a domestic president, but will his legacy be on the international stage? Well,
good to see you, Pigweed. How's it going?
Hill?
All right, what's going on?
Hill, what are we drinking?
This is two porters. We're going to drink two porters.
Okay, well, the only thing better than two porters is 4 glasses of beer.
That's right.
Okay,
very good. So, what's on your mind?
Well, we did a show about Venezuela.
Yeah.
Back when after the Maduro thing.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, if Venezuela falls, then Cuba's got nothing.
Right. They're already showing signs of falling apart.
Yes, and now it looks like we're going to retake back the whole Western Hemisphere. And then we predicted what things would go on in Iran, and they're going on.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, well, what happened to MAGA?
Yeah, right.
I thought it was all about...
What happened to forget these stupid foreign wars?
Yeah, forget these stupid foreign... And now he might be... His most consequential effort is going to be international. Yeah, perhaps.
Maybe so. Yeah, and there's a lot to say about that from a bunch of different perspectives. But anyway, so these are two porters from the junior most Crow Hill brewer, and the first one is just the regular porter, and the other one has vanilla added.
Oh, okay.
So we get to try. What do you think?
Go ahead and get in there because this one's carbonation is different. I don't know if it was affected by the addition of the vanilla.
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's sort of a brown porter. It's not as dark as some porters, but the regular porter tastes straight up porter.
Yeah. Nice. Probably not a robust porter like your regular porter. And then this one here,
and then the vanilla. I think I'm getting vanilla more in the smell than in the taste. There is a bit of a sharp flavor that's probably the vanilla.
Yes, but not a vanilla-y.
Yeah, not vanilla flavor, but...
Not really. But you're right. But I
can smell it.
I could smell the vanilla while it was still sitting on the table, but not really tasting it that much.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what vanilla actually tastes like, if you think about it. I know what it smells like, but what exactly does it taste like?
Well, that's... good job there, young Crow Hill.
Yeah, but both very good. I like the color. Most people think porters have to be black, but they don't. A lot of porters are just a dark brown.
Very dark beer.
Yeah. All right. Very nice. Good. So Trump, some people say that presidents get into foreign policy when they get frustrated at their inability to do things domestically.
Right. Well, yeah. Or this is... And then the other side will always say, oh, this is just a distraction. He's doing this international thing to distract from his domestic failures.
Right. Or to distract from the Epstein files.
Gosh, we're going to hear that
see that all over the place.
Forever. Right. So, like I said, the Don Roe Doctrine comes from the Monroe Doctrine, which said, hey, Europe.
Stay out of our backyard.
This is our hemisphere.
Right.
But they've been crawling around Cuba and Venezuela.
The Chinese have been.
The Chinese and the Russians, and apparently the Iranians and Hezbollah and whoever else wants to get in there.
Yeah, well, of course they do. Why wouldn't they want to be in Cuba? It's 90 miles from Miami.
Yeah. So, so if you take care of those two things, you've actually reclaimed the Western Hemisphere and said, no, seriously.
We mean it.
This is ours, and we did have. You had the socialists in Argentina,
right?
And you had FARC and all of those communist Maoists trying to take over.
There have been a lot of countries down there have been turning more conservative.
Before that, I'm going. We were crawling with commies and ne'er-do-wells,
right? Yeah,
and yes, we're actually down to Venezuela till they took that out, and we've got Milei.
Yeah.
Killing it in Argentina after years of socialist ruin. Bukele Love that guy. Now, I didn't realize this one. The conservative president of Ecuador, known as the Bukele of Ecuador, Daniel Noboa, has sent the army into so-and-so region to root out criminal gangs.
Well, you know, what a strange idea that the government would think it's their responsibility to get rid of criminal gangs, you know?
Yeah. And Bukele is like, no one is stronger than the state. If you think that you can't take care of the crime, you're complicit in the crime.
Yeah.
And
that's
right. Basically the facts.
I've been thinking for a long time I would love to see a pivot to the Americas. Let's stop worrying about all this other stupid stuff.
I kind of like the idea.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Europe, you deal with Russia. You deal with the Muslims.
Right.
We're going to deal with our hemisphere.
Yeah, because Europe in some ways, it's parts of Europe, not all of it, but parts of Europe seem like they're beyond saving. They're just infiltrated.
Yeah, remember they talked back, this is back in World War I, they talked about the sick old man. Mm-hmm. And now the sick old man has become a lady boy. So anyway, that's the Western Hemisphere. Is being realigned by Trump,
kicking the Chinese and the Russians out of our backyard,
and
which is way overdue,
and opening up the window for conservatives to take over. I mean, he's not guiding these countries, but I'm sure it helps to know that the big boy on the block is on your team.
Isn't Marco Rubio the king of all these countries now?
He is Prince of Persia. I mean,
I know he's
got so many jobs.
He's doing everything.
Well, I mean, when Cuba goes, who else is going to a Cuban who speaks Spanish?
Right.
Where else are you going to go?
Yeah.
Ted Cruz, he's busy. Joe, Marco, he'll take on another job. That's all he does. But how would that even work? Because in Venezuela, there's at least, even though the elections are stolen, there does exist an opposition party that you could kind of turn to. There's no opposition party in Cuba. Like even if those guys all just hightailed it out, they said, how about this? Just give us sanctuary in some country and the heads will leave. What does that leave you in Cuba?
Well, I mean, the country's been under the communist thumb for so long that I don't imagine a lot of the people who actually were business-minded and wanted to do things have left. So what's left? What's left in Cuba? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't really know what we would do. I mean, we would have to bring in the U.S. military and set up a U.S.-run military government until for the transition time. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not my job. How about Europe? Europe.
Well,
it's supposed to be, the special relationship.
Yeah, well, the problem is that the old order established after World War II was that Americans sacrificed without any reciprocity. We basically rebuilt Europe.
Yeah.
And NATO chronically underfunds their militaries.
Yep.
They rely on us.
Yes, so they can fund big fat social programs.
Right. So we have all these tanks sitting over there in Europe to defend Europe against the Soviets,
while they dial back on their own.
While they dial back on their own and use it to fund all this other stuff. So, and Trump is like, this is a bad deal for us. Look, if America pays the bills, then America sets the rules.
Yeah, and they're like, well, it's not been like that for 50 years. That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, tough.
Right. That's not the way it's going to be.
That's not the way. The UN, we pay for the UN, and, and consistently have to fight to get any kind of help.
Yeah, the UN is useless. And we had a show about the UN just a little while ago.
Yeah, and throw NATO in there, too, because when we'll see when we get to the Middle East, how useless NATO is.
Right. So Trump replaced globalism, globalism was what the Bushes were all about, and Obama. Everything was globalism. Everybody's talking about, and Trump is like, no, nationalism.
Yeah,
we'll be interested in American interests, and you guys should be interested in your country's interests.
Right. So when Bush the elder was talking about the New World Order, and then during COVID, the Klaus Schwab and the Davos boys were talking about the Great Reset. This is not what they had in mind. You're about to get reset, bro.
You're going to get reset, but in a different direction.
Not the way you were thinking. In this globalist manner.
Yeah. Trump is telling Europe, it's time for you to grow up. You have to defend yourself. It's not, you have to spend more. You have to take care of your own defense, and they're not doing it. So,
and, Make America Great Again. I hope that Belgium says make Belgium great again. That everybody says Belgium first.
Although I think it would be Belgium.
Liechtenstein first.
Belgium would have to be great for the first time.
Well, at least their priorities ought to be Belgium first, right? It's not like that we're going to have an American first attitude and we want everybody else to suffer. I'm like, no. He's like, no. Every country should be thinking like that. Everybody should vote for politicians that are going to act in the interest of the people that voted for them.
Yeah.
Nobody votes for you to ask in the best interest of the entire planet the way that the New World Order was supposed to work.
All right. So, and then, how about China? Why in the world do we give China most favored nation status? And there was this belief, both parties believed, that integrating China into the world economy and helping them to actually make some money would liberalize China. And that was a completely, I kind of fell for it too.
I totally fell for it. I'm like, once you give them a taste of freedom, you're going to give them a taste of economic freedom, and political freedom will follow.
Mm-hmm. That was the idea. It was wrong.
It was
wrong. So Trump was the first one to actually say, no, we're going to treat China as a rival, sometimes a partner, sometimes a rival. We're not going to just pussyfoot around with them. Yeah. So that's another part of the international reset, is the way he's standing up to China. To the extent that he is. I would like to see a lot more done against China. And then I think another key point is that Trump, because he's considered a populist, is saying that the American voter sets the policy, not the global elites. The America first, the American voter, what we want for ourselves, what American families want for their families, for their children, for their future, that's what's going to set the policy, not a bunch of guys in Davos or in the United Nations.
The other things I have to say about Europe actually are in relationship to Iran.
Okay, yeah.
You want to go there?
Yeah, let's go there, because that's, the big things that have happened are Venezuela and Iran. And there's a tie. There seems to be some few things that tie them together. But what did you want to say about Europe with Iran?
Well, that it's where are you guys?
Mm-hmm.
And so Trump calls out everybody and says, "All right, we need some help." Pretends that we need some help.
Yeah, we want some help.
Want some help, and so France says, "Well, not as long as there are hostilities." We'll come in and help.
We dropped all our guns.
Once nobody's shooting at us. All right, well, that's France for you.
Yeah.
And then the others are, the Brits wouldn't even let us use their air bases. So in the opening salvo, we have to fly 2 hours further than we would have.
But much farther.
We had what's the Diego Islands, whatever that is, off the coast of Africa, Cyprus is right there. That's pretty close. We could use that one. No, you couldn't do that. Germany says Iran is not our war.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. If Iran is not your war, that maybe Ukraine is not our war.
You opened that door.
Yeah.
We didn't say come with us or we're out of Ukraine. But
the whole idea of the NATO pact, that an attack on one is an attack on all, that sounds nice and everything, but it really practically doesn't make much sense. Because, okay, so some little NATO country gets attacked for some weird border dispute reason, and now all of NATO has to respond.
The entire force.
It's
like, you guys gotta, why don't you just deal with that yourselves?
Yeah.
And, so the whole thing is kind of silly.
Well, the other thing about Venezuela and Iran is Venezuela was clearly an attack on China, because China was getting a lot of their oil from Venezuela, and they were trying to get a
even more so. I would say more so Iran.
Yeah, exactly.
They got 42% of their
So
oil.
by taking Venezuela and Iran out of the deal,
it's a backdoor slap on China. It's like, well, we're not attacking China.
Mm-hmm. We're just cutting off their oil supply. Yeah. And we're making a mockery of their military, because Iran has a lot of Chinese military weapons. So it is both of these things, Venezuela and Iran, are in a certain way an attack on China.
Now, this thing's breaking so fast that the notes I had from yesterday have changed when nobody was helping until today. It looks like people are starting to line up and get on board. Oh, but the point that I forgot to get to was Trump says, we don't need your help.
Yeah.
We can do this. We can totally do this by ourselves.
Right.
And there's somebody outlined it that says, it wasn't a coalition request. It was a loyalty audit. And they all failed.
Yeah.
So he's not saying, well, we're really desperate down here. We really need your help. Like, when it hits the fan, will you be there? And everybody...
I think Trump wants to get out of NATO. And
he can show its uselessness.
Yeah, he what he's doing is he's demonstrating that it's all one-sided.
Yeah.
They want our help all the time, but they don't help us. Now, that wasn't true in Desert Storm, some of the NATO countries helped us there. But they're not stepping up. And, that once again, though, that goes back to what I was saying before about the stupid mutual pact that if one gets in a war, then all of them do.
Yeah.
Just because let's take the perspective of some weenie in Europe who's saying that this is a completely unnecessary war and you shouldn't have done it and blah, blah, blah. Why should we get involved in your stupid war? Okay. Well, okay. If that's the way you're going to play it, then
none of these treaties mean anything.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I've got a side point here about checking Twitter. So I'm scrolling through here and I'm seeing, on X, if there's any information on who's in, who's out.
Yeah.
And then it says, Austrian Chancellor Christian Stocker has decided to dispatch the Austrian cruiser Fritzl to the Persian Gulf. And I'm thinking, how bad is my geography?
Yeah.
So I gotta go. Now I gotta go to the darn map.
Yeah.
And say, I don't know, there's some little piece that reaches the Black Sea somehow, and I don't know what's going on. And then I was like, all right, I've been had.
Yeah.
This Fritzl, do you remember that there was an Austrian guy who kept his daughter confined in the house for 24 years, and she had children by him, and
oh my gosh,
it was the most creepiest thing. That's the guy's name. I'm like, you guys got me. Dang it.
Well, as Abraham Lincoln said, you can't believe everything on the internet.
Yes, he did. I remember that too.
Yeah,
he said it. So, while we're in Europe, what about Greenland?
Right.
I'm not doing. This is what I got. So maybe Trump got everything he wanted, but he just the art of you go in asking for more than you want.
Yes.
So basically, it's, I want $5,000 for this used car. I'm going to ask for $6,000.
Yeah.
We'll get down to $5,000. He'll think he saved $1,000 and I'll get one. It's just that simple.
That's the way it will go.
So maybe he really never really wanted, but you just go in going, no, seriously, we have to have this. There's just, it's not really an option. Appreciate it, but we're going to take Greenland. Okay. So what we'll get instead is expanded military presence, access to resources we didn't have. We can put a Golden Dome missile system, but Denmark has emphasized that discussions about ceding control are off the table, firmly standing that sovereignty is a red line.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Maybe we got all we needed.
You got everything you wanted.
If you think about the way, if Russia were to launch missiles at the United States, if you think of the world in terms of a 2D map on your wall, you would think they would launch. But if you look at a globe, they would launch, over the north, right?
Yes, I know that there's an international flight to China is out of Minneapolis. I'm going.
And you go north.
Isn't San Francisco closer? But right.
Yeah.
Actually going over the top.
Yeah.
So that it would be a good place to stop.
Yes.
Or just to keep an eye on who's moving things around in the Arctic.
Yeah, I remember reading some military books where they were talking about the strategic importance of Iceland. Because it's close to the North Sea and there's all these other things going on. So that it's just an important place. I think we have some submarine bases up there or something.
What do you know?
Yeah.
So this thing, Mike Pompeo, he's a big international guy, right? Yeah. He knows what's going on in the world. He's like, the Strait of Hormuz is not. We're not trying to get back to where we were a month ago.
Yeah.
That here, why don't you do me a favor and read this? Think about it. What it means economically.
Think about what that means economically. Every risk premium baked into global energy prices for the last 50 years has included an Iran factor. The cost of doing business in a world where one murderous theocracy could choke off global oil supply on a whim. That premium affects every airline ticket, every grocery delivery, every manufacturing cost on the planet. Removing it isn't just a military victory. It's an economic one felt by every person on Earth who heats a home or fills a tank.
Right.
So basically,
this is a much longer game.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What you're saying is that built into the cost, every gallon of gasoline that you buy, built into the cost is the risk of moving 20% of the world's oil supply through this place that could be controlled by Iran or could be attacked by the Houthis or, Iran's proxies and things. So if you take away that threat, that 20% of oil is now in a much safer condition than it was before.
Yes, so it's not merely that we need to get things back to where it was. We're going to get back to where it was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And so he's just saying it's a much bigger play. Controlling that is not just about making oil safe to travel through right now. Mm-hmm. It's a major play. It's an international move.
Yeah.
To get that strait under control. Even though Trump's like, you guys need 2% of our oil comes through there.
Right.
Everything else is you guys.
Right.
Who aren't ponying up jack.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we don't need so much oil from around the world because we have tons of domestic production.
But we have an international.
So good old well digger.
That is the one when we drank it a couple weeks ago. It was undercarbed.
Yeah.
Look at that baby
all right
there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So yes, so this is much. It's not just like getting mean guys out. Theocrats out of Iran,
which is not a bad thing.
Which is a good thing. Freeing up these people who aren't happy about it, even though you're pretty happy about it 47 years ago, weren't you? When you were all screaming death to America.
Well, I'm actually not sure that's true. Apparently, even then, even when in the 1979 revolution, it was only like 20%. That was in favor.
There were millions of people in the streets screaming death to. It was very, very, very popular. Yes, because they didn't know what they were getting into.
Yeah,
they're just going Shah bad, imperialism bad,
and it was the college students.
It's college students, and they thought, there were no countries, there were no Islamist countries. I mean, clerics have never been in charge of a country. They're just, they just deal with the religious aspect, and they live under the king, or whatever. But this was a whole new thing. Oh boy, we got something really hot going on here. How's that good for you? So, Europe, then you're just not only the nuclear threat, which is no small thing,
right?
Hamas, Hezbollah,
right?
Houthis, all the terror, all the Islamist terror is coming from Iranian money. So you would dry up.
The other Muslim nations over there don't like Iran.
Yeah.
Because they know they're trouble.
Yeah.
Well, part of the reason they don't like them is the Shia-Sunni thing.
Shia-Sunni,
right, yeah.
Mostly.
But still, they don't like them because the other countries,
disruptors.
Yeah, the UAE and Saudi Arabia and all these other countries, they have to deal with these radicals, these crazies, and they know that Iran is funding them and promoting them.
Yeah. Now I don't know if Iran is funding everybody else. Are they funding Islamism in Africa?
Probably. I don't know.
Who are the
I mean,
Boko
supposedly,
Haram, the Nigerian, those guys there. Would that also dry up?
I would hope
some
so.
of the funding?
Yeah, we haven't heard much about that anymore. Boko Haram and all this. Didn't they capture a whole pile of girls and take them? What happened there?
hashtag free our girls.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, thanks. That's Michelle's contribution.
That's right. Come to a gunfight with a strongly worded letter.
Pretty much. What was I going to say about... but he did come in with some actual strikes on Islamist Nigerians who have a long history of slaughtering Nigerian Christians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah,
the Nigerians were thankful for that. So that's Africa. Asia was the backhanded attack on China, but just by draining the new Japanese Iron Lady.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. So this Japanese lady is saying that you, Donald Trump, are the only one who can bring peace and stability to the world, and I'm going to back you, and I'm going to push to other people in the international community to back you.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
I know. Apparently her English is really quite good.
But why was she speaking through a translator then?
Well, she did. She started that way, stopped, and Trump was like, "Oh, wow, that's kind of nice." And then when she started that speech that you're talking about,
mm-hmm.
She started it in English, and then she shifted to Japanese.
Only you, Donald Trump, can bring true peace to the world. Only you can crush the Iranian regime and restore global order. She didn't stop there. Staring straight at the president, she declared with conviction that shook the room, "I am ready to rally all of the allies of the international community together. Under your leadership, we will achieve the impossible. That is why I'm here today in the White House to deliver this message to you face to face. The world needs you now." That's pretty interesting.
Whoa. That's big talk for a domestic president.
Yes.
So, and, for 2 presidents ago, when he was president, they were like, "Oh God, who's this Yahoo?"
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
First time he went to the UN or Davos, they're like, "Oh God, this guy's he's not a real politician
he's
we
Andrew
are."
Jackson,
He's kind of gruff and
putting his dirty boots up on the table.
Boots. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how they thought of him. And guess what? Now he is the only one who can restore order to the planet.
According to the Japanese lady,
and she is no joke. And I think we've got a new agreement with her on Golden Dome technology.
Oh, good.
So going to help. They'll pay for it.
Well, that's good because we need Japan to be a strong ally against China.
Yeah. Yeah, and so what? Korea? No movement on Korea. I think he already tried that in the first presidency. He went over there, and it was a really big deal. I mean, how many presidents have been to North Korea?
None.
Right? Is that what he said?
I'm pretty sure.
I think you're
Trump's
right.
the only one.
He goes there, and he's like, "All right, let me see if I can get something done."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Not getting anything done here." And
never mind. Yeah,
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Would you say a bad deal? No deal.
No deal. It's like Reagan in Reykjavik. No deal is better than a bad deal.
Yeah.
So you don't, if it's not working, you just say, okay, it's not working. You walk away. You say, I'll focus on something else. And, North Korea is a menace and is a problem, but they haven't done anything.
So, I know. Right? Just you're going to ignore them, and then they'll fire some missiles into the sea.
Right.
Although some of them will just barely get off the launch pad, and then it'd be, because we need to be we're being ignored too much. We need to be taken seriously. Like, all right, what's the problem? And you give them a little attention. And
so let me kind of go through some old order, new order things
I like
here. Okay, old order, U.S. guarantees everything.
Right.
New order, shared responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You're responsible for your stuff. Old order, globalism first. New order, national interest first. Old order, trade without strategy. New order, trade as strategy. And that gets into the point of the tariffs and things.
Yeah.
Old order, diplomacy by consensus. New order, diplomacy by leverage. And right. I think that's a pretty clear distinction that Trump is making, upsetting the George Bush way of doing things.
And with the nationalism comes addressing immigration.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the people of Europe are kind of like, well, I mean, I guess there's nothing you can do about it. What are you going to do? And I think that they are inspired by Trump making it a priority, saying no, you can do mass deportation. It's funny that we say deportation, and in Europe they always use the term remigration.
Okay,
I don't know if they think that sounds nicer or what,
yeah.
But they're going, wait, you can do that. I mean, so in giving. I think you have so many socialists running the countries,
yeah.
and the conservative parties have been beaten down and told that they're Nazis, that they've kind of lost their guts. But yeah. I think he's inspiring them to say, wait a minute, nationalism is okay. Talking about the problems of immigration is okay. I think he has, while not necessarily doing anything, yes, that's the right word. Them.
And this thing about immigration, I am more and more of the opinion, that we should just stop all immigration, legal and illegal, for like 50 years. Just stop all of it and say, let's deal with the mess we already have.
Yeah.
And, maybe 50 years from now, we'll decide that we can have some more immigration.
I think we did that at the turn of the century.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, we did it. We've done it before. And I think that would be the right thing to do, is just say, look, we've got lots and lots of people here now. Let's just stop the spigot. No more.
All right, I'm fine with that. And so, how about my Jimmy Carter comparison?
You mean him being over his head and not knowing what he's doing?
Yes. Yeah. So, listening to this podcast on the Iranian Revolution.
Yeah.
The podcasters, the historians, were kind of kind, and they're going to look. This guy did not sign up for this.
Yeah.
He's a domestic guy. He's a peanut farmer. Georgia is a medium-sized, kind of low GDP economy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of his wheelhouse. He was not ready for the international stage,
right.
And it just came at him too hard, and he couldn't quite handle it. They were actually quite kind to him, but they're going, he's just in over his head, meaning that he didn't have a lot of international experience. What international experience did Donald Trump have? He's a local New York City developer, but
I think he knew how to make deals. He knew how to work with people who were full of themselves. Yeah. He knew how to work with people who had money, who had power, who had influence. Yeah. He knew how to play the game, and that apparently counts for more than
yes. How many years you've hobnobbed with other international leaders?
Yeah.
How about just knowing how negotiation works, how power works, how money works, how you instinctively know who to intimidate and who to buddy up to and whatever. Yeah.
We've talked about that before. It's like when Trump walks into a room, he can just say, "Okay, that guy's nobody. That guy, I've got to beat him down. That guy over there, that guy's my friend." He just
I'm going to flatter that guy.
Yeah.
Use that guy without any 3D chess. Just just by being in that world for so long.
Yeah, he just kind of knows it.
So I think, all right, I think, yes. So in terms of being consequential, I'm not saying that every one of these things is going to work out perfectly.
Sure, we don't know.
In America's favor. But as far as the consequential impact as a president, like when the PhD students are writing about Trump 50 years from now, what do you think, or what are they going to be talking about?
Well, I think the number one thing they're going to be talking about is that Trump taught the Republican Party that it's okay to fight back. That, the Republican Party has been wimpy for a long time. Yeah. And he taught them that, no, it's okay. It's okay to say what you mean and mean what you say.
I'll apologize and stand just to the right of the Democrats on whatever issue they're on.
Yeah.
And how about no?
How about just, exactly. What the Republicans have been doing for all the long time is like, how can we hurry up when we surrender? How can we just get to the point where we say, okay, fine, you get what you want. And Trump is not like that. He says, no, we're just not going to do that. Right. This is stupid. You're crazy. We're not going to do it anymore. Right. But he's rude and obnoxious and various things. I'm not necessarily endorsing his style, but he gets results. And
I'm saying, but in his long-term legacy, is it going to be his domestic impact or his international impact?
Wow.
I guess that's what.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of hoping.
I would have thought, and I think he would have thought
it would be domestic.
It would be domestic,
but it's looking like it might be international.
It might. Yeah. All right. Well, Hope it all works out. And yeah, go down there for a Cuba Libre.
Cheers. Thanks so much for listening to Beer and Conversation with Pigweed and Crowhill. Remember to visit us at pigweedandcrowhill.com or send us an email at pigweedshow@gmail.com.